Hello and welcome, Star Wars fans, to this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot that they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brody, and I'll be hosting this episode with my co-host Christian and our special co-host Luke, as we attempt to discover what story is truly the best from a galaxy far, far away. On this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the top 10 moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Guys, it's a great show. I enjoyed it a lot. But before we dive into this show, I wanted to highlight our special guest, Luke. Luke, you've been in the studio before, but not for Duel of the Ranks.
No, yeah.
Welcome, Luke.
Thanks.
Thanks.
I appreciate that.
You are host. Anyone who hasn't heard your episode where we did break down one of the episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, you host your own special podcast called the Podwans.
Yep. Podwans Podcast, where you can find us every Thursday night on YouTube. We are also on Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, or whatever, wherever you guys get your podcasts. So go check us out there. We are currently in the middle of doing something big for the channel, going into Andor. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Lots of exciting stuff. With all that said, let's get this show started. Now, I do want to talk a lot about Obi-Wan Kenobi. In fact, I want to take this whole episode to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, except for this really small thing that kind of is going to be a really big deal next April. We all signed up for Star Wars Celebration in London,
England.
London. Here we come.
I used a Scottish accent.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah.
London. I'm going to London to talk about Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah.
I was excited.
Freedom.
Just lost all of our Scottish listeners on that, and people from London. They're just like, you need to come here to experience our dialect because you clearly are so off, sir.
I'm excited.
I am so excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a blast.
What's the one thing you're looking forward to most about Star Wars Celebration next year?
Oosh. This will be my first one, so I'm really excited just to experience it. But I'm a book guy, so I want to see the books coming out on the shelves, like the first ones that are coming out, like just to be at the forefront of what is new that's coming down for Star Wars, just all the material. Like, that'll be fun. And then just seeing people that we've been interacting with online, maybe meeting people for the first time, just getting that community together. I'm excited.
First thing I always think when you do meet people that all these virtual people we meet since the pandemic, whenever we do get together face to face, the first thing that always goes through my head is, so that's how tall you are.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right.
No, yeah, that's exactly how it happens.
Pretty natural response.
I mean, my co-host Char J on TikTok, he is like 6'6". So the guy's tall.
I put a piece of tape exactly 6'6" on my wall at my house,
that you could
just
train,
so I could train to meet.
Nice. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I did challenge him to a game of basketball, not knowing.
That'll be
how
fun
tall
to
he
watch.
was. Yeah.
God.
For everyone else but me.
No, yeah, I'm just gonna laugh the entire time. I'm not gonna have to do anything as a coach.
There you go.
Just be like Phil Jackson coaching the Bulls. Hey, just go play.
Do your thing.
Amanda's got a lot of work to do with me before that game, so
hey.
We'll see. See, the only thing I'm really looking forward to about Celebration, the only thing, the number one thing above all else, if anyone knows me, meeting Tamura Morrison. If that were to happen, all the other stuff, it's just like
stars
amazing. Meeting our friends, doing all the crazy stuff. I'd be so excited. But if I get that Boba Fett helmet signed by Tamura Morrison,
that'd be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Celebration this year, and meeting Ewan was nice. But I have a feeling that Hayden's gonna be available for photo ops next year.
I would love that.
So I am, me and Alanis are probably going to go in half seas again and meet him, because that would mean more. That would mean a lot. Well, not a lot more. It would mean more because he is my favorite character.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
no, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of favorites and top moments, I think that in top people, all these amazing things we rank on this show, I think that's a good segue into the Obi-Wan Kenobi top moments. Let's break this down. All right, so we have our top 10 Obi-Wan Kenobi moments. At number 10, we have a familiar face, with Hayden Christensen reprising his role for the first time as Anakin Skywalker out in the desert. At number 9, we have when Vader burns Obi-Wan Kenobi. Pretty gruesome. We weren't expecting to see it. Definitely ranks up high for us. At number 8, we have the BACTA tank parallel scene between Obi-Wan and Vader, showing they're going through the same thing at different parts of life. Number 7, we have REVA versus Vader. Another fantastic moment. Vader showing his prowess as a fighter. At number 6, we have Vader terrorizing the villagers. I would say it was a pretty snappy response from him with some of those folks. At number 5, Obi trains Annie. What a fantastic sequence. Gotta love that flashback. At number 4, we have I am what you made me. Amazing dialogue. At number 3, Vader is bringing down the house. I mean, a ship. Oh, like Ahsoka, like Starkiller, like so many other people, like Rey, but he did it. At number 2, we have Kenobi versus Vader. What a fight scene. What a great ending. But before we get to our number 1, I want to bring up some honorable mentions we had. Some of them including meeting Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force ghost. He returns, first time since Phantom Menace. Awesome to have him back. Some other things we have in our honorable mention section include Order 66 at the Jedi Temple. Still depressing, but beautifully executed. Another one is assembling Vader. Love to see him put together for the first time since Revenge of the Sith. And then we have forgiving the 501st, because of course, Tamara Morrison. Love to see him back there. Automatically makes an honorable mention. So at number 1, we have the best moment in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, where Anakin Skywalker says,
failure, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
And those are our top 10 moments from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Top 10.
I feel pretty good about that list.
It's a memorable list.
Comes
It
from
is.
all of us.
It is.
Amanda, Christian, myself, and Luke came together, brought all the best moments, and we compiled this. I feel very good about it all around. I know you had some concern that Qui-Gon not being in the top 10 was something for you.
No, not a concern. I just think it's interesting. You know,
okay.
because I mean, Obi-Wan's been working up to that moment the entire time, and then just to have, like,
I feel like that could have not been in the show, and I'd be completely okay.
see, coming into the
hot
show.
take.
Coming into the show,
I
I
enjoyed it. No hate.
No, yeah, no, I love. See, like, if you go back and like watch our reaction to it, like hearing me and Alanis and like the rest of the group that we had the pleasure of watching it with, we like it was yes, Chaco, because of Obi-Wan. You're absolutely right. It was just nuts, like, to see like everybody just react, but the way Liam Neeson goes, well, took you long enough. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Just so perfect. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get any better for like Qui-Gon showing up, and it's just fantastic.
Christian, if you had to take one moment, not critically what's the best moment, but maybe the moment for you in this show that you just have the most feels toward, the most emotion that's wrapped up into it. What is that moment for you? Because I think I know, but I want you to say it.
Yeah, personally, I loved it in part 5, that opening scene going to the flashback of Anakin training with Obi-Wan, and that they're panning back, and you first see Hayden Christensen ready to do the training. And for me, that was like the first time since reviving Star Wars post Revenge of the Sith. That was where it was like really tugging at, you know, the emotions or the nostalgia of, you know, as a prequel fan. That was just so cool and so special to have. I was like, are we really getting this?
Yeah. I mean, Alanis, my girlfriend, is her favorite movie is Attack of the Clones. So, watching that was quite incredible. But I'm gonna wait till my hot take to say what I'm gonna say. So you just have to.
What's your personal favorite of the series?
Personal favorite? I would have to say the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, but that also includes the number one that we just saw.
Yeah.
The emotion that comes with that scene is just so powerful.
Yeah.
Because like it's finally giving Obi-Wan the closure that he needs. And then it makes sense with the quote, Obi-Wan once thought as you do in Return of the Jedi. And then it also ties into A New Hope. Like I feel like this show has moved A New Hope. Like it's given so much context to New Hope that when I rewatch it, I'm like, this movie's like, it just makes it that much better.
It definitely builds a solid bridge.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. I mean, I can't stop talking about this show because I mean, like we did the round table and it like literally when I started TikTok, like this was what this was my show. Like this is what I was talking about. I'd bring it up every time on our podcast and talk about what I wanted to see, and like it gave me this community. So that's why I feel like Obi-Wan is why I have it so ranked in my rankings of how I see Star Wars content. But yeah, it means a lot.
Something I think that was really cool for me was before coming into the show, I always appreciated Kylo Ren the most as just on the movies alone, not going into the shows or anything else because there's a lot of stuff out there, but just on the movies, Kylo Ren the most as a Sith because of any of the people out there who just act out of rage. I mean, a lot of people are, you know, like quiet, calculating. The Vader in the originals is very mechanical.
Yeah.
And you do have Palpatine, who's very strategic, and Count Dooku, who's very respectable. I mean, he's like an aristocrat. I mean, he's just, again, there's a lot to these people but they're supposed to be just these people who act out of sheer passion. And Kylo Ren does that. And I've always wanted to see that out of Vader because when you do read the comics or you do see other things, you're like, wow, there is a lot going on in that mechanical suit. And then you watch this show
and you see it.
And especially because what I love is they did it without compromising the suit. Meaning they didn't have to constantly take it off to show emotion. They did it at the right time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
like
when he walks through the
village.
When he walks through the village, I think that's the most terrifying. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh well, it's not as good as Rogue One." And I'd be like, "No, it's better than Rogue One."
That was a terrifying portrayal of Vader.
That literally is the scariest I have seen Vader ever be, and it's not even close.
I don't know if I jumped, but I know like they did a really good job when like Obi-Wan runs into like whatever those like little mounds were that he's like hiding. I'm like, dude, why would you do that? You're not using the Force anymore.
Well,
this guy is
well, you gotta
Sith Lord.
You gotta remember, he's just doing it to stall.
That's
the stalling. He's not doing it so that he can get away from Vader. He's doing it for a lot of the things that Obi-Wan does in this show that drives me nuts that people just nitpick. It's like there's a reason for everything that he does in this show, you know. And if you
I
just
do think though he was afraid. Like in that moment.
genuinely afraid, but he also was like, well, if I'm gonna go out, might as well go out like this, you know. At least giving Tala and Leia time to escape, which is obviously very important.
Yeah,
to the story.
Obviously he was doing that. I mean, that's why he obviously sent them away.
Yeah,
was trying to do that.
Yeah.
But still, like in my head, I'm just like, all right. Like, if I know Vader's going to cut me down, I'd rather just keep running. But going through those mounds, it's so terrifying because you're like, is he going to jump out? And what was really cool is Vader didn't just jump out.
No,
he has these, like, lights. And as if, like, oh, I don't need to sneak attack you.
Like a cat and mouse.
Well, that's literally what it is.
I'm so powerful. I don't need the element of surprise to take you down.
No, it's so funny because it's like in a lot of, like, the external media, he turns off his respirator just to intimidate the hell out of people. Like in Lords of the Sith, he turns it off. And when you listen to the audiobook, it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden they stop hearing the respirator, and then all of a sudden they hear it again. And it's just like incredible. Just incredible.
Just like, I'm Batman.
No, yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of.
Now, you also, Luke, something that I was shocked about. Now, there's a lot of fans who did not like Reva, to say the least. Now, I was always in the camp where I was like, she's fine. And then by the end of the show, I'm like, yeah, I like her. I like her as a character. I like where they ended up. Is she my favorite character or a top 10? Probably not, but I do like her.
Yeah.
You were always a huge fan. And so to see your top 10 list, not including Vader versus Reva, which I thought...
It didn't include Vader versus Reva?
No. In his top 20.
No, it didn't make my... So here's the thing. There were so many other moments that I thought outshined that one. Not saying it's not important. It's... Like, the saber fight was cool. And, like, the background of her... being the youngling was amazing.
When he separates her.
It was
Ahsoka's stance.
It was insane. But like part 6 had a lot of my favorite moments, which is sad because it was so hard to do that because it's like I genuinely tried to pick something from each episode that I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
and like I wish I could have if it was like top 40, top 50, it would have made it for sure. There would have been more Reva than people expect because I think her character throughout the entire 6-part season was done perfectly. And the fact that people didn't recognize the beats that they were trying to do through the first 4 episodes, it's like the fact that they didn't put 2 and 2 together that she was the youngling. Like when you see the camera look at her, look at a character that is similar to who we see, like it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, and we talked about that in our first episode reviewing the parts 1 and 2 of Kenobi. Like we talked about, we think you're supposed to imply or infer that.
Well, yeah, I mean when the camera's like literally in her face.
Yeah,
I feel like how do you miss that? But people just are, for lack of a better term, not there.
If you don't want to see it, see it.
No.
But,
and I also wonder too, like, if people gave this show 3 or 4 years and came back to it, and there's not all of these high expectations or whatever, they remember maybe I didn't like it that much, and they come back and they watch it from A to Z where it's not being released on this weekly cadence. I wonder how many fans will turn around and be like, you know what, this actually was pretty good.
See, and here's the issue. Netflix has made it so easy for people to consume content. Like, that's Netflix's thing, right? I like the fact that we have to wait a week to a week because, A, I'm a content creator. That gives me something to talk about for an entire week. If I got it all at once, it would completely destroy the point of even doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's one solid perspective of it. There are others there are so many more who aren't content creators and they just want to consume like one good piece of content, or like they want to consume something in an efficient manner that's entertaining and whatnot. And we've talked a lot about this show being, as like a hot take, like being better as a film than as a series, but I enjoyed it as a series. And like one thing that I don't think, not like a personal gripe, but more so like because it was a series, it was episodic, and because of the box of the timeline of what an Obi-Wan show has to be in this timeline, by the time we got to episodes 4 and 5, like we knew exactly what had to happen. So it was like predictable in that sense, but it was still so good, so enjoyable, and like I loved watching. I've rewatched that part 6 fight, that choreography between Vader and Obi-Wan. So awesome, so fun to watch. And I do love how they can kind of start bridging the more regal, flamboyant, awesome choreography of the prequels compared to like the clunky mechanical of A New Hope. And they found And I think they bridged that well too with
They
that
did.
choreography.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
No, I enjoy the show. It's a lot of fun. Not going to nitpick it too hard. If you want to hear all our nitpicks, we have, 6 other
Previous
episodes where
episodes or whatnot.
Yeah.
we break down the
These
nitty gritty.
are just our top moments.
It's not
There's
how,
there's
as
no
I've
filler. There's no filler. I can tell you that right now.
said-
Debatable.
Oh, well, and we did debate that too.
Debated it twice.
And I've said it from the jump. It's not how I would have written the show. There, I would have, as I've said before,
That's fine.
would have loved to stick with just the parallels of how cool would it have been to have one story all about Vader, one story all about Obi-Wan, and they just brings them both together for that
it's-
climactic ending.
It's called read the comics.
So no, I mean I've seen the Vader comics and it's so cool. Like
It
I
is.
said, but it would have been, and I do think
Seeing
it's
it
funny
on
that,
a page and then seeing it on screen is completely different.
and
So I
all
get
of our
that.
top
I
5
get that.
moments
Are all
include-
Vader.
are all about
They
Vader.
are.
Yeah, they are.
And it's just
Yeah.
like it. I think what we're really asking for is a Vader show, but like
Yeah, but then people come out and Char J, Char's. I always am like, I would love it, and then he goes, you got a whole saga about him. I'm like, yeah, but there's other parts in the timeline where we don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Give me
and
that.
I think
We
this was
love
fine.
him.
And like I said, I'm not unhappy with this. I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. I think that would have been better, but we'll see what they do down the road. And honestly, I don't know if I ever want him as a main character.
See, yeah, that's the thing. That's the other thing is like I feel like the best part that Disney has done since acquiring the rights is not using Vader
Yeah.
so much.
You can't do that. You have to still keep a mystery.
Yeah.
And, like, that's
Like-
part of the allure of
Like
them.
if we got something, I would want it about the Inquisitorius.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
And just have Vader be the background guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shows up every once in a while and everything, but
What's cool, like with this show, we got new characters that I really enjoyed, like Tala, Freck. We got to see not a new character, but like a new portrayal of Leia as a child. Like
yeah.
we got some awesome, cool new characters that watching this show going into it, I really didn't care about new characters. I wanted to see what they were doing with Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm glad I saw that, but I'm glad we got some cool characters to discuss as well. I think for how serious Star Wars to me has always got a dramatic, serious, operatic tone to it, even though they're very much filled with comedy too, like
Yep.
the
Oh,
original
yeah.
trilogy. So comedy has its place, and I like Obi-Wan's lines throughout the show too, even with Leia. I think it was part 3.
Yeah.
When they're on Mapuzo, he's like, "Well, people are not all good, Leia," and he
What?
like cuts it off, and then he's like, in part 6, "Well, you're only 10 years old. I'm not gonna give you a blaster."
And then it's
Yeah.
so funny to see the parallels of what she ends up growing up in like 3. So in the timeline, 3 or 4 years later, no, she's 16. No, she's 16. Yeah. So in Princess Leia of Alderaan, she gets to do what her mother Breha did, and she has to do this challenge where she has to go up a mountain, and she's given a sword of all things. So it's like so funny to see that parallel. I'm not gonna give you a blaster, but in 3 years we'll give you a sword. You know.
Take a blade.
So I've enjoyed
Nice.
that. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, the whole show was awesome.
Yeah, I
I'm
loved
so
it.
excited to see what Disney continues to do with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Most importantly, we need Book of Boba Fett season 2, where he hunts down Mace
Don't-
Windu. Tamura Morrison
don't-
brought it into
don't-
existence. He
don't.
spoke it out there.
Oh my
Disney
god.
needs
real
to
hunt.
do it. That's all I care
No.
about. When I heard
No.
Tamura Morrison say that, I was just like, all right, Disney, what will it take? That's all we
he
need to
wants
see.
it.
It's literally bringing Mace Windu from the dead, and
Don't care.
I
I
don't
care how they do it. It can be sloppy. I don't
uh,
care. Just
Don't
bring it.
put that in the world, for the love of God.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll have to be critical of it.
Oh
because
yeah,
we do the
absolutely.
show.
You'll tear that. You think Brody looking at Obi-Wan Kenobi and tearing it apart is gonna be great content? Oh, watching him take down his own
That was the
favorite
hardest
character.
He
That
did
was the
for Book of
hardest
Boba
thing.
Fett.
but
That
he's
was the
gonna do it
hardest thing.
again.
Yeah.
Ooh, I would pay
Punishment.
to watch that.
That was the hardest thing. I walked out of that kind of sad because I did enjoy Book of Boba Fett, but when you have to really critique it,
Yeah,
and you have to see every little thing that's wrong with it,
yeah.
as well as what's good, it was tough because I'm like, I just want to be 7 and enjoy this because it's not 10 out of 10 content, and I have to really pay attention to that. So, no. Book of Boba Fett, I enjoyed it a lot. Still would take that finale over the Obi-Wan Kenobi finale.
You're insane.
I haven't found a single soul that agrees with me on that one.
You're
That's
absolutely.
That's just from enjoyment.
I think I found one person on Twitter.
You're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. You just straight up are.
I've already seen some like pretty nasty tweets come my way on that.
It's okay, but here's the thing. Like I can respect that you say that.
That's from an entertainment perspective, obviously.
It was that see like from
It was like Godzilla versus Kong.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
People.
See like
It was nuts.
Obi-Wan is like your creme de la creme, and then you have the T-bone steak at like I don't feel like it's comparable. It's not very comparable, to be honest.
I don't know if I could even call Book of Boba Fett a T-bone steak. It's more just like
compared to Kenobi,
a
in my
Coney
opinion.
Island hot dog.
Ooh,
like-
wow.
That's what Book
Wow,
of Boba
I
Fett
was
is.
willing to
say,
give I was willing to give your show
I know what it
a
is.
T-bone
but you know what?
steak.
But here's the
You
thing.
don't
It's
have to be
It's a summer
gentle, it's
day.
okay.
It's a summer day. It's 11:30 a.m. You're out. You're walking the beach, and there's like this awesome looking Nathan's hot dog vendor. Looks legit. You're telling me you're not going to take that in that moment? You know what? No, you're going to jump on that Rancor, enjoy that ride, and go on like a Ferris wheel or something.
Well, I can tell you, I could watch Part 6 all damn day and enjoy it and find things that I haven't seen in it. It's great. And the two best characters in the entire saga, arguably.
Boba Fett's not in it though.
Yeah, but Boba Fett's not Darth Vader or Obi-Wan Kenobi, so
Yeah, so like you said, the two best.
we're,
Jango Fett and Boba Fett were not in it, dude. What are you talking about?
and your favorite movie isn't Attack of the Clones?
It was.
Oh, it was, but it's not now.
It's not now.
See, you've fallen off the path.
So awesome.
You've fallen
It is
off the
awesome.
path.
It is awesome. I wish there was a different. I wish George Lucas was the visionary for those prequels, but didn't direct, especially Attack of the Clones.
Well, okay, so also think about this real quick. Sorry, we're getting off a tangent, but think about this. Think about the technology that without the technology that he has now, like what they are able to do with that environment that they made for Mandalorian, for Obi-Wan, now Ahsoka, like everybody's using it. Thor: Love and Thunder used that set.
Yep.
So, like, think about that. If we wouldn't have gotten the prequels, we probably don't get what we see.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what we saw literally looked like practical effects.
Yeah,
But it's not.
and
It's incredible.
it's true. I also want
That was a trailblazing trademark of Star Wars. ILM doing all that,
Yeah, and I also want to shout
Quinlan
out.
Voss, Pep.
Yeah, Die in the Force put out there. Everyone wants to bring back dead characters, and not enough want living characters.
I would take Quinlan.
Voss.
See, if you haven't read Dark Disciple, read Dark Disciple, because Quinlan Voss is one of the most compelling Jedi. He's kind of like Anakin. He's kind of arrogant. He's carefree, but he's not as like he toes the line, but he always knows when to come back.
Yeah.
And Quinlan's becoming one of my favorites. I think we're gonna see Quinlan in probably Jedi Survivor, either Jedi Survivor or something else, because you don't just
That'd be
name
cool.
drop
That
him
would be cool.
and not bring him in.
It was cool to get that name drop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but it
He's
was
a
cool.
he's a legend.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with all that to be said, those are our top 10 Kenobi moments. It was a really great show.
So hard to pick.
I
So hard to
know
pick.
it was
It really
hard
is.
to pick.
To like,
And that's a
you
good
wanna-
thing.
you want to call out like a whole fight scene. It's like narrow it down to a moment, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's go into the hot takes segment of the show because Luke's got one, and I've been wanting to hear it ever since he said that.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
It's hot takes time, and Luke, what is your hot take, sir?
I'm gonna wait till I'm gonna look straight in the camera. If we had a close up, we would. The fight scene that we saw between Obi-Wan and Vader in Part 6 is the best lightsaber duel in the entire saga. And
Whoa.
Here's why.
Oh my.
The emotional stakes. The choreography was on point. We didn't see any like Vader being like so clunky. It was just smooth. The way that we get the final, how it ends, the emotional weight of Obi-Wan seeing Anakin for what he is now, and just everything it does for the saga as a whole is just, I think it's almost as important as Duel of the Fates. It's almost as important as Battle of the Heroes.
Almost, or you're saying it's the best?
Well, I think it's the best. I think it's the best because it's
not
like,
my top 3.
I mean, it's okay. You have bad taste.
I gotta vote it down. I mean, one, what we have with Duel of the Fates, the music is iconic in that scene. Obviously, the choreography was no one had ever seen.
Here's the
like
problem. Here's the problem. You didn't like anything from Kenobi, so it wasn't gonna meet that. So you got to take that out of there. Come on,
No.
stop looking at it like that.
Well, the music, yeah. From the music perspective, I thought there was a lot left to be desired. But just music, a lot else I enjoyed. But then you have Return of the Jedi. I mean, choreography-wise, no, it's not fantastic. Like this fight sequences between Darth Vader and Luke.
Okay.
But how that fight starts
Yeah.
with Vader being the redemption
Absolutely.
story, it's
But
amazing.
you get that with this fight. You get everything from
But
this
it's
fight.
even better in that. And that's the end. And then you also have, or what should have been the end of everything, but we do have the sequels. Palpatine does come back. It's the temporary end of evil. And then you do have Battle of the Heroes. Which
I would prefer watching that fight because these two characters, it's been building up for 6 episodes, right? We get to see Obi-Wan get taken down, and Vader finally says, "You have gotten your strength back." And that's what he wanted.
But
that's
the
what he wanted.
weakness still remains.
Yeah. And just like the way that battle played out,
it was really
it
good.
was
Yeah, it's
just
really good.
like I was on cloud 9 because like I talked to Harris Productions about it as well before the show even came out. I wanted to see the emotional weight of Rise of Skywalker on the Death Star. I wanted to see the choreography, a little bit of the choreography of the prequels, and then the emotional weight of the scene from the original trilogy. And we got all of that.
It's better than the fight scene in the throne room in The Last Jedi. So I'll give you that.
See, I have a love-hate relationship with that scene. I think it's great.
What do you hate about it?
I think it might be too long, but then again, when I say that, it's like, was it all that long? I mean, we were cutting back and forth to Finn and Rose, and I mean, it's see, I have to sit with that one because The Last Jedi, I think, is a very underrated movie because it gets a whole lot of flack, and I think it did wonders for just like the franchise and getting people to look at it at a different lens. And that's the other thing with Obi-Wan is that every single episode made you think after what you consumed. See, that's the thing. Netflix, you get everything at once. You don't get to digest it and really get to go with every episode when it's all released at once. So, but going back to my original take, yeah, I think it's the best saber fight in the entire saga.
Getting back, you were saying like the duration of the Last Jedi thing. That's where I wanted the Part 6 duel with Obi and Vader to be longer. To me, it was too short. I was like, oh, I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see more choreography or whatnot. But they did nail it on the head with the story of the characters and like their relationship, bridging it. I see it more as like a really solid bridge. I like I love the Revenge of the Sith duel. I love the Return of the Jedi duel. Like, I think those are, or especially like Revenge of the Sith, it's just, I think that's long. It's more enjoyable because it's longer or it's more filling in that regard. But I totally get what you're saying. Like, so yeah, I disagree, but I totally get what you're saying.
No,
All right, Darth Vader.
Find your lack of good takes disturbing.
That one hurts because we were on a streak of like everybody that you had brought on
Getting
got a
it
Roger
right.
Roger, and I've let the team down.
It's okay.
You have
Dang.
not.
You will be back
Dang.
at some point. I mean, it's a good take. It's just
Well,
the crew disagree.
also, I should have gone with the original one.
You can do it.
No, because you can't do 2 takes. No, you can't do
can't.
that.
This is our
But
show.
what? But
You
what?
can.
But
you get
what?
a
I
max of 2.3
but
per episode.
but what I wanted to say. So, I really wanted to send you the soundtrack, Brody, because a lot of I know you nitpicked a lot of Natalie Holt, but there was also other people on that soundtrack that did the score with her. So here's your moment. Here's your moment. You can take back that you should have blamed the other people as well. I want to hear you say that. It's not just Natalie Holt. It's William Rhymes, I think it is. He helped. There was other hands involved. So
All sorts of people are like, "Oh, she needs help."
Whatever you
let's just-
say.
I
William, come on out. We have something to tell you.
yeah, no,
Sean
it's
Williams, please.
no,
The
it's
score is failing.
see, like I think the score itself, it did what it was supposed to do. She literally, Deborah Chow said, "We're not gonna use the Imperial March because he hasn't
Yeah.
deserved it."
And I will say too, for like speaking to people on the production side, I think Deborah Chow did a fantastic job with this entire series.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only 2 things I didn't enjoy was the amount of times we had dark lightsaber fight scenes, which I think was every single time it felt like it was ignited. It was in the dark to really show like
Yeah.
the luminosity of
They're lamps now.
Yeah, and I was like,
Well,
all
it's
right,
hey,
that's fine. And the shakiness of cameras, which, by the way, that last fight scene had, and that's a huge thing I ding on it, which I don't think you really get that with Battle of Heroes, but the amount of just the shakiness of the camera throughout the show.
It
But
adds
it's
to
also-
that effect.
but it is you're supposed to do that because that is the points of view of both characters.
I hate it. No, I disagree. I don't like
I
it.
totally get why they do it. It's
Mhm.
more
Yeah.
of a personal preference.
Yeah,
Like I'd rather they not.
absolutely.
Like George Lucas, he panned out and he let the swordsmen display their art.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're kind of having this shaky camera effect, which I get what they're doing. I think it takes away from the art of the swordsmanship.
I always think back to like the first episode of Daredevil that Netflix has, and there's like a hallway scene where he just goes, I don't know how many dudes he beats up, but it's all done in one take where he goes down multiple levels
Yeah.
of like an apartment or whatever complex
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and it's amazing. There's not all of this shaky camera nonsense. There are like, hey, either it was a perfect take or it wasn't, and as someone who does a lot of videography work,
Yeah.
really helps you appreciate the talent that's on screen. And Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are some of the most immensely talented people with, especially a lightsaber,
Yeah, and like
on the planet. So showcase that.
Yeah, and like what a privilege it is to have actors like coming back, not only reprising their roles,
Yes.
but like actors doing that choreography and showing off that swordsmanship instead of completely relying on stunt doubles or whatnot. Like
But I
that
do
is
wanna
so
say,
cool.
on the positive side, though, I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of storytelling that she was able to do, especially because it was a show format where they didn't have to rush things, and
Yeah.
things you were able to kind of just place. I said it on previous episodes, but like adding in that 501st Trooper, and
Yeah, it's just like the little Easter eggs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
and just stuff you're really able to
Yeah.
think about, like who he is as a character, without it having to just shove it all in your
No,
face.
yeah, absolutely. Just the nod of, it's like, and it's funny because it looks just like real life. What we see every day in real world.
Yeah.
Like we see that, and
And I don't think Star Wars has ever done anything like that.
no,
Ever.
at least not in live action.
Maybe
Done
Rogue
what?
One,
Maybe
where
Rogue
it's like
One.
again like an impressionistic.
Well,
painting where
here's-
you have to just really.
Oh, like rooted in realism.
Well,
Yes.
think about this though. Bad Batch, you get to see a little bit, and I think in season 2 you're gonna see it even more. But yeah, just wanna hear you say it. Just apologize a little bit. Just say that it stunk from everybody else plus Natalie Holt. That's
No,
that's
man. If the Denver Broncos lose the Super
here
Bowl,
we
it's
go.
coming
He's
down to
gonna
Peyton
live
Manning.
he's gonna live and die,
Die
on
on this
this.
sword. Listen,
God.
man. When the Los Angeles Lakers didn't make it to the playoffs this year, people aren't saying Russell Westbrook is a terrible point guard. They're saying, LeBron, why didn't you guys get to the playoffs? And so when it's your job to oversee that department, I don't care who else is brought in.
Again, there's a lot more hands on this stuff than people for they want to blame the writers. They want to blame it's a thing.
But it's
executive
top-down
producers.
leadership. Top down, Natalie.
I love the
So,
score.
My,
I loved it.
Yeah, my whole opinion on the music is because Obi-Wan, the very existence of this show is already in the box. It's already in the box
Yeah.
of what it can and can't do. We know the rules it can't break.
Yeah.
So I think the music follows suit.
I think so too. I
Pretty
think it
well.
worked. I think it works.
I really wasn't expecting anything terribly new from the music, but it complemented
Mr.
the story.
Expectations over here, wanting to hear Imperial March and the
First
Force theme
time.
all the time.
It was the first. Now I will say something. I did actually. There obviously like an hour after the finale aired, there were people overdubbing stuff like Battle of Heroes, Duel of the Fates.
It didn't
And
work.
I listened, and you're right. It didn't.
It doesn't work emotionally with the
It
scene.
didn't, and neither of those things do.
No,
So because
exactly.
you were curious, you're like, oh, I wonder what it would have sounded like with this, and no, it didn't fit.
It doesn't.
I think you could have.
I thought they both did. I really
Oh my
enjoyed
God,
the dub
you
over
are-
too.
Dude, what is wrong? You two are just insane.
Dude, it's good.
No.
It plays at the
Does neither of
nostalgia.
those-
It doesn't. Well, okay.
It plays at the
Emotion-
nostalgia card. That's the parlor trick, man.
That's the problem.
Get over it.
Nostalgia.
That's
Nostalgia.
what
not
Star
my-
Wars is for the adults now.
Not-
That's why they watch it, is
All right,
because
so wait
of
a second. What is
nostalgia
your
of
take
childhood.
here? Is your take that I should get over, just get over it and just
Yeah.
accept the fact that it was good music? Well, I'm just saying it's milk toast because that's not ruffling anyone's feathers. We
that's
already know
fine.
where I stand.
That's fine.
Christian, where do you stand?
I just thought it was a conversation. I didn't really know.
I didn't
hot
think it
take
was going to be a hot
Yeah.
take.
All right, Grievous.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
Again.
Fun time.
We gave the last 3 guests Roger Rogers,
Including
It's all-
myself,
including
by the
you,
way.
including you.
It
are
can be
balancing
done.
all out.
It can be done.
It can be done.
It
And
is what it
honestly,
is.
that last soundbite was probably not even warranted. But I will say,
I
it's
think it's
been-
just funny.
it's about like 4 episodes since we've played it, and I've been direly.
Hey, well, at
Looking
least I
for
gave him
excuse.
something to do.
That was
You
nice.
gave,
You know,
you gave me
hey.
something
Thank
to
you.
do. You gave me value.
And in all seriousness, I don't actually feel that way about Brody. I think his take is, it's whatever. A lot of people have it. It's just, I just like giving him a hard time.
Now, I will say this though. Concerning Kenobi, I enjoyed the show. We gave it a 7.8 out of 10, which is higher than IMDb at 7.2. That's or 78% is what we gave. Whatever, something like that. Point is, I don't want any more Kenobi after this. We know his life. We've seen a lot of it from A to Z. If you're going to show me anything, maybe a Force Ghost, maybe something super, super, super small, please do not give us a Kenobi season 2. There's so many other stories I would rather see.
But you'd welcome
executed.
him as like a cameo or something in someone else's
Something
live
small,
action
but
show.
he should never be a leading man in his own show, and or be a supporting role. Some sort of cast where he's just got that just significant screen time in somebody else's show. Doesn't matter. I don't want to see him anymore. In
That's-
that light.
That's you know what? I was on that train for a while, but the way they left it and it opened, him saying, "Owen, he doesn't need any protecting. You and Baru are the only ones that need to protect him. I'm not gonna show up anymore," and that opens up to him learning from Qui-Gon, which means more Liam Neeson. There was a pitch. Mason Windu on TikTok. He made a pitch where Bo-Katan Kryze and Obi-Wan somehow, I don't know, but like somehow they meet up and they have to help each other. And then we get flashbacks. And who plays Satine? Kate Blanchett, who they based the model of Satine
Really?
in the Clone Wars. Yeah, they use Kate
Nuts.
Blanchett. And you bring her in. You have flashbacks to a kind of a younger Obi-Wan, to where we learn what happened when they had to protect her back in the day. So, yeah, that's what that's I think that could be interesting. But I kind of agree with you there. It's like we've gotten if they do it right, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna complain. The one thing that I will say, if they use him in Ahsoka, it would be perfect, because you have Hayden, you have Ewan, and people that are gonna say, well, he's not Alec Guinness. Well, Force ghosts can manifest into any form that they want to,
And they
and
get a small role.
Absolutely. Just to
Keep
kind
it
of
small, man.
just to like give Ahsoka that closure, because she, to our knowledge, she never knew that Obi-Wan was alive. She never knew these things, because the last she had known of Obi-Wan's fate was that they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
Her
Yeah.
and him and Anakin.
Yeah.
So it's like getting to see that with Ewan, Rosario Dawson, and Hayden. That would be that. And if they didn't do anything else with Obi-Wan, I'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
No.
I think some of these, I'm more open to it if they, like you were saying,
the story.
if they do it well. Because
Yeah.
at first I was like, we don't really need an Obi-Wan show, We need an Obi-Wan movie or nothing. And we got the show. I'm glad we got it. It was fun to watch, great to consume. If they do it well, like, I'd be interested to see how they do that, because it's still a box that Disney is operating within. But even kind of like what you were saying too, like, we could say a lot of these things about like bringing back Mace Windu or doing like all these other things. I don't know. It's, if we can write Darth Maul back to life.
There's
Some things.
See, I mean, if he got off planet, that would make sense.
Who?
Obi-Wan. Again, if he got off planet and he ended up running into Maul, but then again, it takes away from Rebels.
Well, I'm not saying they have to meet. He has to meet Maul. I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, if you write a character like Darth Maul cut in half, if you write him back to life, the sky is the limit.
And I want to see Maul and Vader go head to head.
See, I would enjoy
That'd be
that.
cool.
And
I
that's the
would
thing,
enjoy
that
that
was-
because he knows who Vader is.
In Legends, it was a thing, and it did happen, and it was an amazing.
It was in a comic run, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which ironically wasn't even Legends. It was like a deeper. It at that point it wasn't even considered Legends. It was like a what if.
Yeah,
Kind of like Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
so cool though.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of stuff I would rather see than more stuff on Obi-Wan at this point, because I don't know. I think that'd be really cool, especially Maul's arc, like more in that timeline that between Rebels and Clone Wars. Like, what did he do after that Republic Star Cruiser like just fell
Yeah,
out of the sky? What was Maul doing then? So there's a lot in that timeline.
hiding from the Empire, growing Crimson Dawn, Crimson Reign.
Yeah, did he have any run-ins with Vader? Was he trying to recruit any other Force?
Well, I mean, if
Bossing
you read,
Kira around from Solo.
if you read the comics right now, Crimson Reign is going after the Empire, which means Kira is leading the charge, and they're going up against Vader and Palpatine. So we know those two survive, and I truly do love Kira, so it's kind of on edge on what we get to see from there.
All right, well, I guess that takes my take and gives me
I
a.
find your lack of good taste disturbing.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. I know most of the world isn't agreeing with me on that, but anyway, Christian, do you have a hot take?
Just trying to think of one off the top of my head.
Do you ever come prepared to these things?
Sometimes I do.
I just don't think so.
I think the show would have been better without part 4. How about that?
Ooh,
No,
the filler
false.
episode.
If you look
False.
at our rankings, part 4, like if you table it out on the graph, drop off, and then it goes back up. And I
So I'm
think
saying
that's
no,
where a
so
lot of the
my take's
fandom
already-
had criticisms too, overall.
I don't even think that's a good take. I think
No.
that's such a bad take.
It
because
doesn't
of
ruffle
what-
your feathers?
No, because
No,
there's so
it's
many
bad.
important out of the gate. There's so many important elements to episode 4 that are needed to progress the story.
Exactly.
That don't get me wrong, it's
Thank
not
you.
good. It's not a good episode. I don't enjoy it.
It's okay. You don't have to enjoy it,
I
but
would
it's
rather
it's
get
essential.
See, that's funny.
Now done at the
I
dentist.
enjoyed it. I don't think it's essential.
It is essential
I just
because
enjoy it.
because it's like, how are you going to get Obi-Wan to one place or to the, like, you literally it's important. It's essential to the story because yes, we have to get Leia back. Leia can't see
Yeah,
the
a second time.
Inquisitorius.
You gotta get her back a second time, people.
Didn't she get
Which-
kidnapped
hey.
like 3 times or something in this show?
Hey,
How does
you
that
know
keep
what?
happening?
You know what?
Because it's
I just threw a hot take out there so you can talk about it.
I do like that we all stand at different points. You enjoy it, but you think it's filler. You enjoy it, and you don't think it's filler.
No.
I don't enjoy it, and I don't think it's filler. So
Isn't
none
that
of us.
funny?
yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting room right here. So
No,
no,
yeah.
my feathers aren't even ruffled because I do think it's essential to the story. So I say milk toast.
Milk toast.
All right.
All right, General Grievous.
You fool! Your take is milk toast.
And to all the new listeners on the show, we actually typically do at least put out one one
Usually.
agreeing soundbite per episode. But this week we're just not feeling each other
No.
in this room this week. We're
No.
Got a
I think it's because
fiery
of me.
spirit
I
tonight.
think it's because of me, to be honest. I'm sorry.
you just bring in the room down.
Confrontational, man.
I'm not. I try not to be. You know, I
He
think.
came in the room and
I-
he said hi, and I was like, "How dare you?"
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, just like, okay,
Think
all
you're
right.
better than me?
So this
Okay.
is how it's gonna go.
So your
great.
YouTube channel has how many subscribers, Luke? Okay, fine. That's great. You're so cool. I get it.
Dude.
Hey, took the words right out of my mouth.
You
Check
are
out their
cool.
content.
You
people.
do. You honestly, though, listeners, you need to check out their content. There's a reason they're growing every week. It's fantastic. Go check out the Podwans because it's all good stuff. But before you leave us to go check out the Podwans, we do have one more segment for you. Charlie, take it away.
This is the way to trivia time!
It's trivia time. And Luke, you have the question of the week.
I do. Courtesy of Char Char Dre, my co-host.
All right.
In part 2, when Haja Estri was impersonating a Jedi to scam a mother and her child for money, what planet did he promise them passage to? Is it A, Kashyyyk, B, Tython, C, Corellia, or D, Stujon?
I'm going to say
Good
Tython,
question. Good question.
which was B, right? Tython?
C. Nope, no, it was B.
Okay.
Good question. I'm gonna say Corellia.
Wrong, right. It was Corellia.
All right.
Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, man.
I like that
Finally
you
was
threw in
tied.
Stu John.
I was
Well,
finally
yeah.
tied.
You know, you guys,
You gotta
you
throw it
you
in
you,
there.
you found that out last week.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Man, I thought this was going to be my week to catch up to Amanda's score. She's not here.
Nope.
Finally catch up to her on trivia, and I can't even beat her when she's not even here.
Eh.
Haja, another great use of
Yeah.
comedy in the show.
Exactly.
I operate within the shadows.
Yes, it is. He is such a great character.
I thought that was fun, much needed.
Speaking of trivia and Amanda just winning all things, we did do an Obi-Wan Kenobi bingo throughout the show, and come the last episode, well, Christian and I still didn't win anything.
Yep.
Mostly because I had a lot of fun cameos that I knew weren't probably all going to happen. A lot of them did, though, but not all. Ahsoka Tano did not happen, and that would
Nope.
help me out a lot. Christian, you were missing a thing or two. I think yours was, who was Anakin's friend from episode 1?
Oh, it's
Kitster.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
story. He actually shows up in the Darth Vader comic.
Heck yeah,
but not a
man.
Kenobi.
No,
and
not
because
in a
of
Kenobi,
that,
no.
Christian did not get a bingo. I was like, after seeing Vader snap kids' necks and stuff, I was like, I don't think we're gonna get any Kitster. But
I'm glad that wasn't Kitster, though.
But Amanda, displaying it here on the screen, she did get a bingo. In fact,
Congratulations.
she got 2 bingos.
Look at
so
that.
she
Look at
predicted
that.
this show out the gate. She knew what it was all gonna be about. She enjoyed it. Let's see if I can even zoom in on this screen. What all did she say? She said there was gonna be Padme, some sort of Padme reference, which you do get in that scene. I mean, maybe this is reaching. I don't know what her reasoning was here, but I do think she's probably referring to, is it episode 5 where Anakin's staring out at Padme's building?
I
No,
wouldn't count that. I would count more of Obi-Wan talking
Yeah.
about
Okay,
the
talking about Padme. All
the
right.
characteristics. Well, in both
That was
episode
part
2.
3.
That
No,
happened too.
part 2.
Yep.
No, it was
Yeah,
part
part
3.
three when they're on
Part 3.
Mapuzo.
Part 3, and then at the end in part 6.
So
So
those
I'd give it to her.
references. Okay.
I'd give her
all
that
of them
one.
are references.
We'll have to
Yeah.
We should go through this with her when she's here.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to ask her more about it, but she did get everything else. Like, you got Vader without his helmet,
Yep.
Order 66 flashbacks.
Honda would have been hilarious.
Him saying, yeah, hello there.
So, but
Inquisitor.
here's the thing. She did technically get Grand Inquisitor with the Sith eyes.
Yeah, but her prediction for that was that
We would see him get them.
he would.
That was
yeah,
the
'cause
whole.
He didn't think he was
that
going
was
to
the
have them at
whole
the
thing
beginning
there.
of the show, and then he was going to progressively get them. So.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess I tried to help her there. She
They
could have gotten
tried-
3.
Yeah, she would have had 3, but she's
Mm.
doing pretty great. So, well, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun watching this show. It was a lot of fun talking with you, Luke, each week
Yeah.
as stuff was coming out. For
Yeah.
folks who want to go check out the Podwans podcast, even tonight,
Yep.
where can they go do that? How can people check out the Podwans podcast? Where are you live? Where do you do stuff?
So we are live right now. I will be there shortly. We are talking about the Ahsoka leaving the Order, the end of season 5. So we're wrapping up season 5, starting up season 6 next week. We are doing a rewatch of the Clone Wars. In September, we will be starting Rebels. And we all
Nice.
know Amanda loves Rebels.
She really
So
does.
she will be a guest. I'm sure the other two will gladly join us. You can follow us on TikTok, the Podwans Podcast, Twitter, Podwans Podcast, and Instagram, the Podwans Pod. Go like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like I said, we're gonna have some big stuff coming down the pipeline before Andor. So be on the lookout for that. And thank you guys.
Awesome. Christian,
Um,
for listeners, viewers who want to see more stuff about Duel of the Ranks, where can they find us?
check out our website for all the rankings indexed there for your viewing pleasure at dueltheranks.com. We have a Twitter account. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got TikTok. We've got Instagram. We have our overall blog, our official DOTR review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, breaking it all down. That will be coming out, so keep your eyes open for that.
And all the platforms we can be found at Duel of the Ranks, except Facebook. You might find a page there. We're not very active on Facebook.
Facebook is dying.
Yeah, we're not.
It's not like the Grand Inquisitor is saying hello.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at the beginning.
Revenge does
Wonders. I loved Rupert Friend.
Although
as well.
will to live.
Will to live.
Oh, it's fantastic. I want to see more of him. I want him to get his own show.
That'd be nice. I mean, he
Love to
was
see
he was a guard in the arc that we are talking about.
Yep.
So
Love to see it.
it's awesome.
All right, listeners, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks. So excited to have you join us next week as we bring on another great guest to break down Season 1, Episode 1 of The Mandalorian. We'll see you then.